This is Jorge Rivera with FirstCoast.tv. I'm sitting here with Robert Warren Clark, and he's working with some things on the 450th celebration. And I saw these posters, and we got into a conversation. And I said, you know, you do a little story about that. I want to know more about that. So he was kind enough to meet me here at the Government House, which is a wonderful building smack in the middle of historical St. Augustine. If you haven't been here, you're missing out. This is like the hidden museum. It's wonderful stuff here. But let's go to the posters right here.
Okay.
So, what brought you to these beautiful posters? Here, you could show.
Okay, sure. Okay. So here is one. And this is a story about really the oldest part of St. Augustine, which is just south of the plaza. And right underneath the surface, about 3 feet down, there's a layer of ash. And it goes all over the place. And this is what was left of St. Augustine after Francis Drake was here.
Oh, wow.
And now the Spanish don't really have a very high regard for Sir Francis Drake. They called him El Draco, and he burned the place to the ground.
Yes, Sir Francis Drake, bad boy. Pirate.
That's right. And so anyway, I just think it's fascinating that he was right here. And now here's the rest of the story. The second poster here, if you'll hold that one up, this is about what happened afterwards. Francis Drake took all the food from the town because he had a great big fleet, and so he needed to provision it. All the food he took out of the town, and when the people came out of the woods back to what was the burned cinders, what was left, there was nothing to eat. They were starving. And so the Timucuan Indians that were in the area were ruled by women. It was matriarchal. And so this is the daughter of the chief, who was, and her name was Doña Maria Melendez, and Doña Maria organized emergency food assistance, perhaps the first emergency food assistance in North America in the European era, and she provided food that saved the Spaniards from starvation. She did it not only once, but several different times while she was the chief herself.
Okay.
And she did it for this reason. It wasn't just, it was, yes, compassionate, but also she saw that there were some real benefits for her people and for herself with this. And that was that there was a lot of warfare that was going on among the Timucuan different factions within the whole area here. And with the Spanish, it tended to settle things down. And so there wasn't as much war going on.
There also something of the Iroquois, you know, up north. They were just confederate, a federation of nations.
Right.
In this sense, the Timucuans were having problems, you know, with other groups. So it's very interesting.
It settled it down, and it also helped her to extend her control all along the coast from about where Brunswick is down to St. Augustine.
Oh, wow.
So there was that benefit for her, but there were some other benefits too. A lot of the people were becoming Catholic. There was an intermix with the cultures, and there was some more technology, new technologies that were there.
What else we have here? Here's another one. This one. They're so pretty. They're like, they're like holding up a beautiful watercolor.
Right.
So where can people get these while we're at it?
Well, actually, they're online at my Etsy shop, ETSY, and so if you go to Warren Clark Etsy, or if you do a QR code, click on that on one of the posters that's around town.
You see it
there you go.
Yeah.
You can go right to it.
They're just so pretty.
Yeah. So this is about the monument to the Spanish Constitution, which is going to be a big part of our 450th celebration. A couple of years back, it was the 200th anniversary of the Spanish Constitution of 1812. I did a series of illustrations for the Visitors and Convention Bureau. By the way, I want to say, the Visitors and Convention Bureau has been commissioning 10 of these a year for the last 4 years. So that's really where the bulk of these come from, was their sense that this was important to tell our stories, and they liked this way of doing it with single panel illustrations like this.
You are the illustrator?
I'm the illustrator. I work with 2 other illustrators, so among the 3 of us, we all do them together, but I'm the person that gets the histories, tells the stories, does the coloring of them, tweaks the images, and then kind of gets them out in front of the public.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Here's another one.
All right.
This is great.
All right. This is about Felix Varela. This is him right here, and this is Jose Marti. Now,
yes.
They didn't live during the same period. In fact, Marti was born in the same month that Varela died. But they are both kind of like the Benjamin Franklin and the George Washington of Cuba.
Right.
in their
Right.
independence movements.
Yes.
Varela grew up here in St. Augustine. His grandfather was the commander of the fort and was tutored by the priest in town, which is Father Miguel O'Reilly. And he went into the priesthood, and he was an educator. So he taught the Spanish Constitution in the early 1800s to the leading sons of the Cuban families, and he also taught them how to think for themselves. The end result,
Cubans.
hey,
You got
there you go.
Rusia.
The end result was,
Bandera cubana.
there it is. End result was, these are the people that were the force behind the independence movement, but with these core values, which are down here at the bottom: freedom, democracy, human rights, and compassion. So each one of these posters has this tagline on it: learning from our past, lifting up a vision for our future here in St. Augustine, with these 4 pillars of the Spanish Constitution of 1812, which this man taught, and later became the core identity of what the Cuban people would be about when they would want to set up their own government. Martí came back in pilgrimage to where Varela was buried here at the Tolomato Cemetery. That's his chapel right there. He came back in pilgrimage to him because he wanted to touch base with this man that was the foundation stone of the Cuban identity. This is a rich history we have here in St. Augustine, little known, but all Cubans know these 2 men as very important in their history. This man is up for sainthood right now.
Wow.
And do you think with an Argentine Pope there might be a chance for a man who cared about basic social justice as his core calling and ministry, that maybe this Argentine Pope might just help that along a bit? I hope so. Yeah.
We shall return with part 2 of this conversation about the posters with Robert Warren Clark, illustrator, one of the illustrators of these posters, and tell you more stories about these many, many more posters. So stay tuned to FirstCoast.tv and look for part 2. Thank you again.